This is the secret story of Iran's quest for a nuclear bomb.
This is the biggest secret of the Iranian regime in 2 decades.
And of the ultra-sensitive plans to stop them.
Iran with a nuclear weapon would be very dangerous for world peace.
We're talking about strikes launched directly from air bases in Iraq, strikes launched by aircraft carriers in the Gulf, ballistic missile launches from submarines. It would be virtually war with Iran.
8 highly classified missions to prevent the unthinkable.
The CIA knew who the Iranian agents were, where they lived, what countries they were operating out of.
By doing the unthinkable.
We wanted to send a message very clearly that this is what will happen to anybody who comes back here from the Iranian regime.
Now, for the first time, you'll hear about covert operations at the highest levels.
The CIA was able to penetrate this network and learn that there really was a lot going on.
It was one of the most secretive operations during that time period.
It's a high-stakes contest of wills in which one side will prevail.
The Bush administration is of the view that they already have a necessary authority to launch this attack.
These are the stories beyond top secret. Under Executive Order 13292, the United States classifies government information as confidential, secret, top secret. Then there's beyond top secret. In a dusty apartment in Dubai, Iranian agents took a step that could alter the course of history. They met secretly for the first time with representatives from the black market network of the Pakistani nuclear scientist, A.Q. Khan.
He's like the president of this transnational smuggling company that's providing gas centrifuges and nuclear weapons designs. And their first customer was Iran.
Iran was in the market for a weapon of mass destruction, a nuclear bomb.
The entire nuclear weapons program of the Iranian regime started in the most secretive way. It started by the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, known as the IRGC, which was the most important military arm of the Iranian regime, which was engaged in the Iran-Iraq war at the time.
At that time, when I was member in the parliament, we found this information, and yes, it was secret.
Since defecting in 2001, Adel Asadinia has lived in hiding, afraid of retaliation for speaking out against the regime. But he'll never forget the day he first learned of Iran's quest for the bomb.
If there is something is not secret, we have normal session in the parliament, and you can listen to this by radio. When we have a special session about something that is secret, they close the door. It's clear that nobody must tell this to another person, that we must have nuclear weapon. I know that Iranian regime began to contact with Mr. Khan.
Quietly, Iran bought 500 centrifuges from Khan's network to make the highly enriched uranium needed for nuclear weapons. They also acquired some weapons designs. But even with all the help from Khan's network, Iran was still searching for any technical help and parts they could get. They found some 5,000 miles away in South Africa, where, as apartheid wound down, the government was dismantling its own arsenal of nuclear weapons. It was a perfect place for Iran to go shopping. Iran sent 2 of its Revolutionary Guards to Johannesburg in search of advanced weapon systems, systems that could potentially have nuclear capability. But what they didn't know is that both the U.S. and Israeli intelligence were tracking them.
We'd received intelligence that there were elements of the IRGC operating in South Africa.
Because of the sensitivity of his information, Michael Ross's face has to be obscured. His mission was inspired by a CIA operation called Shockwave, the brainchild of CIA counterterrorism chief Cofer Black. Shockwave was so top secret, Ross is the first person ever to publicly discuss it.
Operation Shockwave was a CIA operation devised to send a shock and a wave through the Iranian intelligence community by exposing their operatives overseas and basically letting them know that the CIA knew who the Iranian agents were, where they lived, what they were doing, what countries they were operating out of, and yeah, it was very effective.
So Ross was dispatched to cut the Iranian agents off before they could get the goods.
And of course, you can only do a mission like this when you have pinpoint intelligence that's actionable on the spot. And we knew where they were staying, we knew who they were. My asset knew the place, where we could get them.
The place, a local hotel. Early in the morning, Ross and his partner crept up the stairs.
We went up to the room, we were armed.
Get up!
They initially started to protest, and as you have to do in these situations, you have to send a very strong physical message that putting up any sort of resistance is going to cause you a lot of pain and suffering. So, we were quite physical with them at the outset and arrested them and took their luggage and papers and everything out of the hotel. We took them to a warehouse that we'd arranged. And, subjected them to a rather brutal beating.
They bundled the Iranians back into the car and drove them to the airport.
We wanted to send a message very clearly that this is what will happen to anybody who comes back here nosing around in South Africa from the Iranian regime.
U.S. intelligence then got reports that Iran had found another source for nuclear secrets. China.
They helped on the part of the fuel cycle that's involved in making uranium hexafluoride. This is the gas that's fed into a centrifuge. They were going to just build a facility for Iran under contract.
And then the United States leaned very hard on China. And the Chinese, looking at their financial ledgers, realized they were making a lot more money in their trade with the United States than they ever would in their nuclear dealings with Iran.
Let us strengthen the bonds between us. Let us pursue common causes.
And under this strong pressure from the United States, completely terminated their involvement in the Iranian program. It shocked the Iranians.
China still provided blueprints and we think some equipment and quite a bit of training in how to build and operate the plant.
Enough to allow the Iranians to continue their progress with the nuclear designs and material that the Pakistani A.Q. Khan was still providing.
When you look at certain facilities in Iran, when you look at their uranium enrichment facility, when you look at their heavy water reactor, when you look at their medium-range missile program, basically Iran has made a copy of capabilities that Pakistan developed a decade ago.
By this time, the intelligence community, led by the U.S., was growing increasingly concerned. But with satellite imagery only showing building exteriors and limited on-site inspection,